Hey y'all, welcome back. So I'm not 100% sure when this video is going to end up being posted, but I will tell you, because it's relevant, that I am filming it on February 2nd. That is relevant because it is February, meaning January is over, and those of you who have been following me since like the beginning of the year will know that that means that my no-buy month is over. I started the year off with the pledge to not buy any dolls or any other like toy items that I collect for the entire month of January, and now it's over, and I'm free, and I'm here to kind of give you my thoughts on the experience and kind of what it was like for me. Because, you know, going into it, I was like, all right, we're going to do this. It's going to be a challenge. But coming out the other side, it's a little bit different. So I thought it would be cool to kind of update you guys and tell you what that looks like from my perspective. So I guess the first thing to say is that I was successful in my no-buy. I didn't buy anything that could even remotely be considered part of like a toy collection at all during January. I honestly think the only money that I spent on myself was like a few makeup products. So I really just kind of didn't buy anything at all. But yeah, I didn't get any toys, I didn't get any dolls, and it was a struggle at times. There were definitely some good points, like some good that came out of it, but sometimes it was a struggle. Just to give a quick recap, the reason that I did the no-buy to begin with was because I feel like inherently as doll collectors, there's obviously a very like consumeristic aspect to collecting dolls, because you're going to be buying dolls or maybe like buying supplies for your dolls or new outfits for your dolls. There's a lot of buying involved, and especially as someone who creates doll related content, I feel like that problem is a little bit worse for me. Like the feeling of, oh, I don't want to miss out on this, like the FOMO feeling. I want to make sure I get this doll and like talk about this doll and review this one, and like it just kind of spirals sometimes and it can be a little bit overwhelming. So I wanted to have January be a month where I didn't buy anything so I could try to kind of cleanse that sensation. It's not something that I necessarily think I struggle with the most, in the sense that I'm sure other people like feel it much more strongly than I do, but I still wanted to kind of give myself a clean slate, and now here we are on the opposite end of that clean slate, and I have so many thoughts to share with you guys today. So let's just go ahead and get on into it. I wrote all of my thoughts down throughout the month in my notes so that I could like make sure I didn't forget anything. Yeah, okay, so the first one is almost bought things unthinkingly a couple of times. That was difficult, mostly towards the beginning of the month, just because, you know, I am in the habit, because I'm in a lucky enough position to where normally when something comes out that I like, I can typically buy it unless it's like extremely expensive, then I might have to consider it a little bit more. But I am very privileged in that sense that I can typically buy the things that I enjoy, you know, in a smart fashion. I'm not like out here buying $20 in a day. If you can, super for you. I can't. But you know what I mean? Like I can typically buy a doll here and there and it's not a big deal. So at the beginning of January, it was really just natural for me to be like, oh, this doll is coming out, I can go buy her. And I can't, and I had to stop myself. I didn't ever actually slip up, but it was just kind of funny because it was almost like a muscle memory sort of situation where I would forget for a moment that I was supposed to not be buying dolls, and I would be like, oh, add to cart. Whoa, 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 whoa. No, you can't do that. But yeah, I was successful. I didn't like accidentally buy anything. That would be so funny and so on brand for me though, if I had failed my no-buy on accident. But yeah, that was just something that I noticed that was kind of interesting, is that it was almost like a habit that was breaking over the course of January. So like by the end, it was pretty easy for me to be like, yeah, I'm not buying dolls right now. But at the beginning, it was just so normal for me to be adding them to cart that it was like, hold on, you gotta not do that. Now that was something that mostly happened to me like when I was online shopping, because when I was in-person shopping, like I tend to make a habit of, if I'm going to like Walmart or Target for anything else, I'll still stop by the doll aisle, right? Just to see if there's any sales going on or if there's something new that has popped up on the shelves. It's kind of just like, oh yeah, like let's go ahead and check it out. I might as well since I'm already here. But I did make the conscious decision to not do that for the entire month of January, and that felt very strange because like I was seeing obviously news about releases and stuff online, like I would see other people post about it, but I wasn't actively looking for anything, and like I wasn't even venturing into the toy aisle, which was just different to kind of change that for me, because like I said, it's just something that I always do when I happen to end up in a store with dolls. Like I'm gonna check them out. Most of the time I don't even leave with anything, but I like to look at them, right? But I thought for the no-buy month, it would be easier if I didn't do that, and I definitely think that helped. I think that not seeing the dolls in person made it a lot easier to not be tempted to break the no-buy. Like if I was seeing all these things that I wanted in person right in front of me, I think it would have been more difficult, but I just kind of locked that down before it could even start. And as far as in person, I didn't see a single toy aisle for a whole month, which very strange, but I definitely think that it was helpful to not even like get myself into that tempted place. That sounds so weird. But you know what I mean? Like, I think it was helpful to not even let myself see what was there so that it wasn't even like a thought in my head. I will say that for the most part, I really wasn't freaked out or worried. I thought I was going to be a lot more nervous about things than I actually ended up being, which is good. Like, I'm glad that I wasn't just a nervous wreck all my... But when it comes to that FOMO feeling, I think that it's natural for us sometimes as doll collectors to be like, oh, this doll has just come out. I don't want to miss out on her. I want to buy her as soon as I'm able to. At least for me, that's something that I experience with a like decent amount of frequency. Also because I do make content, so like I want to get reviews out pretty early. But that wasn't something that I like was hit by nearly as much as I expected to be hit by it. I think, again, it was kind of the strongest at the beginning of January, but by the end I was just like, yeah, you know what, all the dolls that I want to buy are like gonna be available for a minute. They're not super limited edition, like they're going to be on the shelves when I can buy them. So it wasn't frightening anymore. Like the Fae from the Pixlings line, or Skylar from Rainbow High, her slime doll I do think is pretty cute. So like those are a couple dolls that I wanted to get, but I knew that they were mass-produced. I knew that I was going to have plenty of time to get them, and so I wasn't nearly as scared as I had expected I would be. I do think it helps that, first of all, I got Venus before my no-buy. I was really worried about her because I was nervous given the distribution of Abby when she came out with her G3 doll, just because that doll was available off and on for like a while on Amazon, and then wasn't in stores for months afterwards. And so I was very nervous that if I didn't get her before the no-buy, she would be in stock mostly while I couldn't buy dolls, and then I would end up missing out on Venus. Luckily, it seems like Venus has a bit better distribution than Abby did. She's already been spotted in a lot of different like physical stores, so that's nice to see. That ended up like not being a concern anyway, but it was something I was worried about, and I ended up being able to pre-order her online before January started. So I do think I would have been a little bit more frightened if I hadn't already bought Venus, but for the most part, everything was calm. Now, I do say for the most part, because there was one glaring standout thing that was freaking me out, and quite frankly, it's still freaking me out a little bit, and that is Littlest Pet Shop. Littlest Pet Shop is like back for Gen 7. They released this month, or like they're beginning to release this month. It's kind of a weird rollout, at least in the United States. And I am so excited. I made a whole video about the fact that I'm like super pumped about this. And it just so happened to be falling in the month that I couldn't buy things. And with the Littlest Pet Shops, I was like, this is something that to me felt like a very real, they might be gone by the time I can buy them, because I know so many people are excited, and because people are excited, I also know that scalpers are going to be buying up the blind boxes so that they can then sell them online for a profit, which, if that's you, go away. I don't want you here. But like, that was what had me the most nervous, and also like the biggest reason I had to avoid toy aisles completely, because if I saw a big old full case of those blind boxes, I would have broken. Like, I know myself, I would have broken. I was so nervous, and it did get easier, like, again, not seeing them in person, and I tried not to like look online and check what was in stock, because it was pointless, right? Like, it didn't matter if it was in stock. I can't buy it at the point. So it wasn't ever present, but it was the thing I was most worried about, and it kind of still is, okay? Because I did go to Target yesterday, and it was the first day of February, so like, I was allowed to buy things again. I was allowed to look at things again. And obviously I went looking through the toy aisles, and I saw that they had 2 of the like tubes of like the packs of 3 of the Littlest Pet Shops, but there was 1 case of blind boxes, and it was empty. It was just the cardboard casing. Nothing was left in there. And now I'm like, okay, well, I will look online and in store, because I want to look in store because I want to try to find the one that I want. Not like at the full blind box experience. I want to look at the little code on the bottom and get the one that I want. They're out of stock everywhere around me, and it's freaking me out. And like, I know logically that probably they're going to come back in stock and it's going to be okay, and I'll have an opportunity to get them, but it is still a little bit scary. And now I'm kind of like, is that going to be the casualty of my no-buy month, is that I don't have these? And like, it's not the end of the world. If I don't, I'll survive, obviously. Like, I'm not gonna die just because I didn't get a specific Littlest Pet Shop, but it is gonna be kind of disappointing. I'm trying not to maintain that mentality. I'm trying to tell myself I'm gonna find them at some point. But yeah, that was the biggest thing that was freaking me out all throughout January, was just like, I know I can get the Rainbow High dolls. I know I can get like Monster High, whatever. I don't know if I can get the Littlest Pet Shops. So wish me luck in the future with that. But that was definitely my biggest concern. Thankfully, it wasn't constant all the time. It wasn't like I was constantly freaked out about everything, but like, I'm not gonna lie to y'all and tell you I was just completely chill the whole time I couldn't buy any of these. The other thing that I wanted to discuss was my content, because at the beginning of January I had been like, I don't know if worried is quite the right word, but I had warned y'all that maybe the content would be a little bit different. Maybe I wouldn't be able to post as many unboxings for January, and that ended up not being true at all. Like, my content literally didn't change because I had so many dolls and stuff that I had bought in December that I was able to just do those reviews kind of sporadically throughout January, and it really just felt like normal content planning, like when I was trying to figure out what video I was going to do next. It didn't feel like anything was different. I didn't feel like I had to push myself extra hard to try to figure out what I was going to put out or anything like that, which was funny because I don't know why I thought it was going to be so much more intense to like not do any reviews, but it felt the exact same, so probably didn't feel that different for y'all. I guess let me know if it felt super different, but didn't feel that different to me, which was funny because it was something that was like very much on my mind. But yeah, I mean, that's pretty much it. The only other things are that when I wasn't freaking out about Littlest Pet Shop, it was kind of freeing to just not care at all about releases. Like I said, I was seeing stuff on Instagram, like, you know, you see people post about like, oh, I found this doll here and I found this doll here, or like this is on sale or whatever. And it was like in one ear and out the other, right? Because I couldn't do anything about it, even if I saw a doll that I liked that happened to come out. Didn't really happen, honestly. Like, there weren't that many proper releases in January. I can't even think of one off the top of my head. Definitely not any that I cared enough about to like be paying attention to, clearly. So it didn't really end up affecting me. But that was something that I was kind of pleasantly surprised by, is the fact that it was kind of nice to just not really be following it so closely and not be super worried about it or like hunting it down. Like, it just was something that wasn't on my brain anymore. And it was kind of like a little relaxation to just not be thinking about that in the back of my head. I do think that that is like more because I make content than because I am a collector, if that makes sense. Like, I think that if I just was buying dolls and not making videos, I wouldn't be as worried about it, because it's like, yeah, I'll find it when I find it. But with the making videos, I mentioned this when I talked about starting my no-buy, I put a lot of pressure on myself to like try to do the best that I can and try to be timely in my like reviews and stuff like that. And so it was kind of nice to just be like, well, I can't be timely, I'm not buying dolls, doesn't matter at this point. So that was nice. And then the other positive thing that I noticed was going to Target yesterday. I was so much more excited. Like, not that I'm not excited whenever I go doll hunting, or if I happen to find a doll when I'm looking for something else at the store. Like, obviously that's a fun experience, but when I hadn't been able to do that for a whole month, it was so much more exciting to go to Target. Like, I was so utterly pumped to be in those aisles again and see what was there and see what was new, what was going on. Like, it was just a very different feeling than I'm used to, because it was something that I had made such a habit of doing, that to break that habit and then get to like kind of start back up again, it just felt really special and it felt really exciting, almost like a kid on Christmas. Like, it was that kind of sensation of like, oh my gosh, I've been waiting to be able to do this, I wonder what's going to be there. And that was really fun to get to experience. Overall though, final thoughts here. I honestly think it didn't really make that much of a difference for me. I think that I had bought dolls in December, so it wasn't a big deal that I didn't buy them in January, and now here I am buying things again in February, and it just doesn't feel like that much happened, which I guess is a good thing. Like, I guess the fact that I don't feel super different afterwards means that I wasn't in a place where it was like, hey, you need to do this no-buy month because you're kind of getting unhealthy about this. Because I'm sure if that was the case, I would have felt a lot more different, right? And I didn't think I was at that place to begin with, but like, I don't know, it's just, it honestly didn't feel like nearly as much. I don't feel like it changed that much in my life. I had good feelings and bad feelings about it. So overall, it was really just like a neutral experience, which is kind of hilarious, because I high-key was expecting to sit down and film this video. Like, you know, when I started the no-buy, I was like, okay, well, when I film my follow-up, I'm going to be like, wow, this and this changed, and I had this feeling and this feeling. And like, I did obviously have feelings. I just spent an entire video telling you about them. But I didn't have nearly as many as I thought I would, and they weren't as intense as I thought they would be, and it kind of just was a thing that I did. So I don't really know if I'll do it again. I think I had joked in my first video about making it like a yearly occurrence. Maybe? I don't know. I think that it is good to kind of take a step back every once in a while and do a little bit of a cleanse every once in a while and focus on something else. So I'm not ruling it out as a possibility, but I also don't think that the experience was like crazy enough for me to feel like I need to do it super frequently, or even that I want to do it super frequently. I definitely think that once a year is the most that I would do a no-buy. But yeah, I don't know. It kind of just was a month that I existed. And now I'm buying dolls again. But yeah, I just wanted to kind of like give that update for y'all. I am curious because I know a couple of you guys said that you were going to try to do a no-buy month as well. Very curious to see how that went for you. And if you had kind of similar experience as I did, or if you had like a completely different experience than I did, I'd be very, very curious to hear what y'all have to say about that. Sorry if this is kind of a boring video. I know I was just chatting about literally nothing, but I just wanted to do the follow-up since I made the video about the no-buy. I wanted to share my experience with it, which was limited, I guess, and just kind of put the follow-up out there for anybody else who might be considering doing a no-buy and, you know, show how it ends. You know, it's easy to show how it begins, but showing how it ends is kind of a different story. So that was the video for today. I do hope you guys were able to enjoy or at least get something out of this video. I hope you have a lovely rest of your day or your night or whatever it might be, and I will catch you all in the next one. Bye, guys.